Welcome, Rotarians and guests, to the Rochester May 4th Rotary meeting. My name is Ron Lickman. I serve as your club president. Would you all please stand and join me in Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you please join me in the four-way test of the things we think they are doing? Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Show goodwill and better
friendships to all concerned.
Mr. David Eardley.
Thank you, Ron. I guess for the Star Trek fans, I need to say, may the 4th be with you. And also with you. Thank you. That was very liturgical. As we begin for prayer time, I do want us to take just a moment of silence to celebrate the life of Lois Duhamel, just to think about her connection to the club. Many of you knew her and knew her well. So we just lift up Pete and all of their family at this time and just pray for God's peace and comfort. So let's honor her with a moment of silence. Gracious God, we thank you for the life of Lois Duhamel. We ask your presence, your comfort, and your support to be with Pete, to be with her family and friends, and many in this road community, Lord, knew her well, were friends with her. We know the power of community, of gathering together. We know how community heals, inspires, challenges, and encourages. And so may this community be part of the healing for Pete and his family. May our compassion, Lord, be evident in what we say, the cards we send, and simply being there with him at this time. And Lord, we ask your blessing upon our club as we gather both online and in person. Indeed, may we put service above self, and may we help build a better community around us. In your holy name we pray, amen.
I also want to keep Linda in our prayers. She is healing right now. That had to hurt. She broke 2 bones in her ankle. And I think you're with us today, aren't you, Linda?
Yes, I am. I'm happy to be here. I actually have a happy buck when the time comes.
All right, I'll make sure we call on you for that happy buck. Mr. Jeff Whitby.
Thank you, President Ron. Good afternoon. Welcome to the greatest club on earth. We have one guest online, Assistant District Governor Linda Ludy. Linda, you're welcome to come join us here too. We'd love to see you in person. But
I hope that I will come soon.
Thank you very much and welcome to Rochester Rotary.
If you haven't noticed, Tom DeVoe's got a sign-up sheet for the spring fling. It's going to be passed around. Make sure you get your name on that. He needs all the help he can get. Happy bucks. Well, I'm going to give Linda the first shot.
Well, I have to tell you that I am so happy that we have the greatest Rotary Club, and Stuart Signer, I don't know if he's there or not, but Stuart was such an angel. He came over my house. Well, actually, he just texted me and said, how you doing? I heard you had an accident, and is there anything I can do at all? And I said, well, Stuart, if you really mean that, yeah, there is something. Can you come over and help me navigate crutches and the scooter and help me get around? Because I'm having a terrible, terrible time. And he came over within the hour, and he spent at least an hour, maybe more. And you can't believe the difference it made. It made the difference between being in a deep hole and coming out into the light, because man, he knows his stuff, and physical therapy can really, really be an amazing thing. So thank you, Stuart. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Stuart.
I have a happy buck. I have a happy buck coming from Zoom. It's Christine.
Okay. Hold on. We got another one from Zoom.
Did you pay for that commercial?
Go ahead.
Okay, this is Christine, and I have a happy buck that yesterday, 50 years ago, yesterday, was my first day working as a full-time librarian. And I realized yesterday for the first time that I share that 50th anniversary with NPR. So, which is what I listen to all the time. Anyways, 50 years as a librarian. I worked 48 and a half of those years full-time. That's my happy.
Congratulations. Are there any more online? All right, moving around here. Mr. J. Eastman.
You stole my one for Stewart, but I want to have a happy, I'll have a shout out to EMT guys who came out. They were out there before you could say EMT, and they got the fire department out and the police department, and got Linda out of the place where she had fallen into the hospital very, very quickly. It was great what they did, and we're so grateful to them. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Awesome, thanks, Jay.
I have a $5 happy buck. My daughter Jade, who many of you know, is the president of the Interact Club at Rochester High School. So we have a future president for Rochester.
There you go.
Sometime soon. So.
All right, good for him.
Tim?
I have two happy bucks. First is the most important. My youngest daughter is getting married Saturday. So woo! After a year of COVID and passing the date, they actually got married in October, but we're celebrating this Saturday. So we're thrilled. We got 140 friends and family coming. So it's good to catch up with people. So that's a great thing. The other thing is just to remind, we're still a drop off for Grace Centers of Hope for this entire quarter. And thanks to everybody. We've sent them trucks and truckloads of stuff for Grace Center of Hope, but somebody lost a set of keys. So if you know of anybody that dropped off stuff in our office, Grace Center Hope brought the keys back to us. We have no idea who they are, but just FYI, there's been a lot of you that have dropped stuff off, but we have the keys. So thanks.
Thanks, Tim. Mr. Paul Hay.
And two things. Number one, congratulations to all Rotarians on Saturday's event. It was great. And number two, I'm leaving for 2 weeks for Galapagos.
Wow. Let's just put it on the table. Any other happy bucks? Oh, Mr. Nouveau.
FYI, on May 4th, 1989, the Rotary Council on Legislation voted to admit women into Rotary.
Yay! All right. Finally got some workers in the club. Dick.
That's a good one. You want to know where Sergeant Murray was? It's my first meeting back in 6 months, at least.
Awesome.
I get tired of sitting in my recliner watching the show. So it's good to be back. Thanks.
All right. I'd have you back, Dick. Any other ones? Any more online? All right, moving on. Remember birthdays. We have one this week. Mr. Dale Hetrick on May 10th. So let's sing happy birthday to Dale. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
$5, please.
Yeah, Dale, $5. It wasn't on the sheet, dude. Wait a minute. Yesterday? That was announced last week, then. Well, we're going to at least say happy birthday to David Blair, which was announced last week. Happy birthday.
To bring me that.
Here.
Anniversaries. Ethan Hoffman. Can you believe he's been here 4 years already? Oh, yeah.
I'm going through my medical records and getting a lot of shit. Get rid of a lot.
Okay, Tom DeVoe, you want to come up and give a quick announcement on the two things, outing and then from the board.
Yes. Okay, there is a sign-up sheet going around for the spring fling. It's going to be on a Wednesday evening, May 19th, 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. It's going to be in a tent behind the community house on Ludlow. And passing the tickets. Tickets are $5. You can. We're going to do drink tickets, and you can also sign up to purchase a corsage for your better half. The other update is the Rhonda Pansick update. There is a committee working towards a solution towards the charges that were made by Rhonda. They have solicited an attorney outside of our club and is currently reviewing the case. And all I can tell you is stay tuned for future details. It is being addressed. $5, yeah. Can you afford the $5? It's $5 each. So if you're going to bring somebody, it's going to be 10. There's going to be hors d'oeuvres. There's going to be a cheese tray. There's going to be some pizza. So President Rondolito is in charge of the food, and he's got a lot of good ideas. So it's not going to be a meal. And there's going to be a bar. You have to buy with drink tickets. And there's going to be a 50-50. And the whole evening is set up to support the Rotary Foundation. Bring money.
I think you more answered that question. All right. I mentioned this, I think it was last week. I had a fundraiser that was, a guy gave me the idea. Trying to think of his name, Ron, the chiropractor. Anyway, Rodney, yeah, Rodney. Anyway, because of that, and Andrea helped me set it up, I got a notice that there was $1,698 donated. 21 people donated that fundraiser. 6 people shared it, and 513 people were invited. So just take that as an idea to help the club. Everyone can do that.
Dedicated to paying scholarships.
Ron DeLittle just mentioned where that went to. That went to the scholarship committee.
Fantastic.
All right. You're welcome. Masters raffle tickets, please get a hold of Lars Norberg and let's get that thing rolling. We don't end up behind. Ethan Hoffman gave a shout out last week on the golf outing. We'll have more coming on that. And Saturday, with all the COVID going on, and 6 weeks ago, Mr. Bill Evinger and Mary Lee and I sat down and we thought, we can do this. Let's have a garage sale. I want to thank all the people that donated, number one, all the articles. I mean, there was some, I mean, Linda, just give you a prime example. There was a lot of single items. Linda Eastman donated a truckload. I went and picked it up. Steve Ayler dropped off about a truckload at my house. Russ Shelton had all kinds of tools and stuff he donated. In fact, I saw him there and I said, Russ, were those tools ever used? He said, nope. They're brand new. Bill Evinger, a lot of high-end stuff that went for pretty good money. Diane and Phil, I mean, I'll tell you what, Phil was there to help out. Diane. Carolyn was there from 6 o'clock in the morning until 6 at night, and I mean, sold a ton of stuff. Stuhlmeyer was there, donated a whole bunch of stuff with some antiques. Mary Lee. I mean, I can't tell you how many people donated. It was crazy. Load after load after load at the meetings we took over. This was it was a community effort. Thursday actually Friday. Was it Thursday or Friday we did that? Friday. Anyway, guys that went over to load up, leave it to Bill. Bill got a U-Haul truck for like $35. We were looking at a storage container that would have been a couple $100. Bill came through again, got this huge truck. We loaded that up in my 18-foot dump trailer and my truck. That was on Friday before. And the people that showed up at 6 o'clock in the morning to help unload, Bill's grandson, Trey, Mary Lee, Marty McClure, Eric Whipple, Carol Lohman, David Erdley, myself, Gary William, Tim Duncan. I mean, 6 in the morning, guys. It's on a Saturday morning. And then different people that work shifts. And I know I'm going to miss somebody. Ron DeLitto, Roger Roller, Jerry Gross, Tom Asmus, Rachel. Rachel was there, I can't tell you how long. Crazy. And then those that helped tear down. There was a bunch of people that were there. We were there till 6 o'clock at night. We had a goal of $1,000. We raised $2,550. That was awesome. Where's Bill at? Come on up here. He had a couple things he wanted to say too. That was awesome. $2,550, and we still had a lot of stuff left over, which basically at the last minute we're thinking, what are we going to do with all this stuff? So I thought, wait a minute, I got 2 dump trailers, one that we brought over that's open, and I had one that I just got done putting signs on the outside. It's boxed in. It's got about a $10,000 blower on the front of it, but it's all boxed in. It's covered. So we brought that up, totally filled it. I don't need it right now, and we're going to have a garage sale coming up probably in June or July. I'm going to try to sell some more of the stuff, for Rotary, and whatever doesn't sell is just going to get dumped or given to the Salvation Army. Anyway, Bill, you had something to say.
Well, I sure did. And I'm going to follow on Ron's statement there about our president. It's amazing what happens, how things happen. And I really think for us to pull this thing off, we definitely had divine intervention. Ron, myself, and Mary Lee, we got together and talked about it. And of course, what I've been through, I decided, I don't want to do this. But Ron, there was a force in Ron that said, we're going to have this no matter what. And of course, Mary Lee was on board. And I said, well, I guess I'll jump on board. So I did. But, Ron is the right president at the right time, because what he's had to go through this year as a president, I don't think I could do it. Trying to keep this club together but having a commitment to make sure that this club survives. And this thing that we had, of course, your little auction or your thing online, and then having this garage sale. This garage sale did more than just bring in $2,500. It's bringing this club back. When I started coming to this about a month ago, we had about 2 or 3 tables. Well, gosh, we're up to 5 or 6 tables now. And anybody online, if you can get back to this club, we need you here.
Amen.
And Ron was behind having this. He said, we got to get in person again. So Ron was definitely a force behind what's happened here. And I want to thank you for a great job. Yeah, thanks, Ron. You're a force that kept this club together, and I think we're going to do big and better things in the future. But there's some other people I want to thank that are here and maybe not here that were really behind the scenes for this garage sale, and that was I'll start off with Chief Steve Shettenhelm. He got me through the ordeal of getting a license to have this thing. Believe it or not, you have to have a license to do this. And then I talked to Julianne at the library, Morian, and she talked to the board and was instrumental and a force behind our club to get the board behind this at the library to allow us to do this. And they gave us room in the parking lot to do this. And of course, the chief was instrumental in having the right things there for safety. And I was a little concerned about that at the park, but it turned out very, very well. Big Tim Crawford. Yeah, buddy. He's a great Boy Scout, but he's a great Rotarian. Where are you, buddy? Right there. I'm getting emotional. Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to do that. But Tim got us a one-day license, and he said, "Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it." $265 for a license, and Tim took care of that. Thank you, buddy. And Joanna Allen at the Community Foundation. She was behind us. She was so excited. Oh, I can't wait to have a garage sale again in our town. It's going to be great. And she was there the whole day and helped us out. And then we had, I want to thank Mary Lee. She was a big force behind this. And then the day of the event, of course, we had a couple of women that took over. Carol. She took over. Carol Lohman took over. She brought a whole bunch of stuff to sell. She was there from 6 until we closed at 5 o'clock. And Rachel was there. I'm going to be there all day. She showed up and instrumental in selling a lot of goods. What a great Rotarian you are. And you should be commended. Let's give her a hand. Yeah, Rachel. So I'm going to get off stage.
I thought you were the program.
Oh, okay, I'm not the program. Okay. So, but the last thing I want to do is give the Rotarian of the Week award.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, gosh, who can I give it to? Mary Lee? Can I give it to Rachel? And I thought it would be appropriate to give it to a non-Rotarian. And I'm going to pay her fine. This goes to Carol.
All right. Woo! Carol was something else, I'll tell you. She ran that whole section over there with an iron fist. She was working with Rachel, and the two of them together, man, nothing got by them. They sold a ton of stuff. It was a lot of fun. I mean, to me, garage sales, I love going to them. I love giving them. Garage sales are wheeling and dealing time. It's like you get somebody up there, so, what do you think? And just, make me an offer. And they make it up. No, come on. You just work them. We had a ball. That was a lot of fun. And it really helped the park. I mean, like I said, we were shooting for 1,000 to hit 2,500. We'll do better next year. All right. The sheriff, David Blair. Let's give a hand for him. Thanks, Ron.
Be enthusiastic.
Oh.
Wake up.
Great idea, giving the Rotarian of the Week award to Carol Lohman. Do you know she lives with Phil? She is a remarkable woman indeed. And congrats, Ethan, on 4 years in Rochester Rotary. It's like right after you got your driver's license, you said, Rochester Rotary is where I want to be. So Got to be serious for a few minutes, though. I lost a family member recently. My father-in-law, Greg Lake, passed away on the 13th of April. Sadly, that caused me to miss being sheriff here at Rotary, and I apologize for that. It was the last thing I was thinking was to call the club and say I couldn't be sheriff, so I apologize for that. But Greg was a great character, and I wanted to dedicate this sheriff to Greg. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about him, and then you'll understand why I'm dedicating it to him. Greg was 77 years old when he passed. He lived in northern Michigan. He was an Air Force veteran, worked at Rouge Steel, and had been retired for a number of years. He had a loud, boisterous, Ernie Schaefer-like voice and would passionately debate any topic with highly questionable facts. He brought a conversational stubbornness that you can't imagine. We invited him out to stay with us at a vacation home we rented, and there was a pond in the backyard. And there was water bubbling up in the middle of the pond. And Greg said, that's a spring-fed pond right there. You can tell because of the bubbles in the middle of this pond, the spring-fed pond. And Nicole said, no, Dad, it's an aerated pond. And there's an air pump right there, and you can see the tube going down into the water. And Greg said, nope, it's a spring-fed pond. You can tell by the color of the water. There was no swaying him. So in his honor, we're going to ask questions of the Rochester Rotary that are difficult, if not impossible, to answer correctly. I'm going to put $20 down for my fine and my contribution, and I would encourage everyone to be as generous as they can. Greg passed to COVID far too early, so let's help honor him and support the club with being as generous as we can. Now, I read through these earlier, and there's a whole list of them. Let me tell you the ones I came up with here. Greg Schaefer. A girl falls off a 50-foot ladder but doesn't break anything. How's that possible? Well, she was only on the first rung of the ladder. Carrie Riggs. What starts with E and ends with E, but only has one other letter? Sorry, Carrie, your time is up. The answer is an envelope. An envelope starts with E and ends with E and has one letter inside it. Ron DeLitto. Ron DeLitto for $5. You don't get $5. It's just, I'm going to charge you $5. If it takes 8 men 10 hours to build a wall, how long would it take 4 of them? Oh no, the wall is already built. It doesn't take them any time at all. Hey, Bill, if you have a bowl with 6 apples and you take away 4, how many do you have? No, you have the 4 that you took. Hey, Bob Lytle. A cowboy rode into town on Friday. He stayed in town for 3 days and rode out on Friday. How's that possible? He's a cowboy. The horse was named Friday. I can see it on the phone here. They're dying on Zoom. It's a lot funnier on Zoom. Hey, Phil. I'm going to do one more. Imagine you're in a room and it's filling up with water. The room has no windows, no doors. What do you do? You stop imagining, Phil. You were imagining that you were doing that. I hope you found those questions amusing. I can share the link if you like. They're actually pretty funny. take out at least $5 from your pocket, put it on the table, do it for my father-in-law. Anybody on Zoom, go ahead and type your donation in the comments, hit enter, we'll deduct it from your Rotary account. Thank you as always, Mr. President, and God bless Rochester Rotary.
All right. Good job.
Thanks, David, good job. Tim Duncan, is he here? There he is.
He's here.
I'll tell you what, the speaker we have today, I look forward to this every year. They are awesome people.
All right, we're running a little short on time, so nobody wants to hear me speak. Basically, it's my pleasure today to introduce two of our own, Linda and Jay Eastman. Most of you know them as Rotarians of our own club, but we also know them through their humanitarian mission to help the Mayan people of Guatemala, Case of Calibri, which they will be talking about today. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Linda and Jay Eastman.
Thanks, Tim. I better go fast because we want to get to Linda. The question we have before us today is what's new with Casa Colibri? And for this past year, especially what's new. As you all know, this club has been generously supporting Casa Colibri for at least 20 years. And in one way or another with one project or another. But this past year was a real challenge because what do you do when your club or when your organization is 3,000 miles away from the place that you're working and you're not allowed to go there? That should be one of those questions, I think. So $5, yeah. Well, what happened with the pandemic, and of course the pandemic was awful everywhere, but what happened there was that there was no food. The only food they had was what they could pick or what they could grow themselves. Next slide. And worst of all, they had an insufficient harvest. They usually can harvest at the end of their growing season 4 months worth of corn, and they had about 6 weeks worth. So all the borders were closed. You couldn't fly into the airport. You couldn't go from one of their states to the next. You couldn't go from one of their villages to the next. And if you did, and they caught you, you were fined very, very heavily, the equivalent of $2,500 or $100 or $3,000 here. There were checkpoints to the villages manned by the Army. This is a station, a sanitation station. Now, our nurses at our clinic started to share PPE with the various nurses and people in our villages around the area. These were some of the responses that we were able to make to the local area. The nurses sewed masks. That, by the way, is, if you recognize it, a treadle sewing machine. And one of them has that, and they were making masks for people. But it wasn't enough to have downstairs. What? They got hurricanes and flooding.
I don't know. It's done.
You may remember the hurricane that whacked Honduras. Well, it continued up to Guatemala, and this was a Ivy League fraternity kind of situation where they had Eta and then they had Iota, one hurricane following the next. But what they got was not so much the hurricane effects as terrible flooding in the area. Terrible flooding followed by landslides, mudslides, and disappearance of homes and people in the area. This is a road, but right now it's not. Next. Another view of that, just to add bad to worse.
Why is she even have it on?
That's his wife. She's laying on her back.
Oh, she's not listening to you.
When this all happened, we got together with the board.
I got it blocked out so nobody can see us.
What can we do? What are the things that is possible for us to do from here to there? We had 8 or 9 different projects that were planned for us to go there with different groups in the area that all had to be canceled. And the only thing that we were left with was do more planning, but also to do a couple of the projects that we had with the local people. One of those projects is called Niños Sanos, or Healthy Kids. The Healthy Kids project we did with Vitamin Angels, and we used our employees in the area to do this project. And what we did was give them worm medicine and vitamin A, along with fluoridation of their teeth and nutritional information. This young lady on the left here is holding a water bottle, which was the prize that you got if you came to Niños Sanos. This is a water bottle to emphasize that they should drink water and not soda pop and have other non-nutritious snacks. Next. This is sort of a picture of the nutritional education, the eating the rainbow translated into Spanish and then into their language, which is called Carnaval. Next. And we had some videos made up in Carnaval that John was highly involved in, and we were able to show those, and people there were able to do the fluoridation of the teeth. Next. We had an infrastructure program that we participated in. Of course, a lot of the roads were wiped out, including the one to the clinic, and the villagers there rebuilt it, and we supplied some of the cement, and they supplied the labor. Next. Our Rotary wash sanitation project that's been going on for quite a while, the sanitation part was completed during this time, so that each of the villagers in our local village now has a latrine that is a flush toilet and is engineered in a sanitary way. Next. The good old clinic on wheels hit the road again. Once it was possible to go from one village to the next, we found out a couple of interesting things. There was a rumor going around for people not to take their Depo-Provera because it might contain COVID vaccine. We went to the first village and found that there were 19 new pregnancies because people were not taking Depo-Provera. So we had to do a little education on that. But the clinic on wheels started to get out to the villages again. Next. So this is an example of doing some prenatal care in the villages. Next one. Now, I'm going to turn this over to Linda, I hope, because we did get involved in some of the literacy projects that we wanted to do using local people. And she's very enthusiastic about these and can tell you, but the schools closed and all the teachers were furloughed for a year. And this is the response that we made to that.
I hope everybody can hear me. What's the score on that? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, great. Well, we had experimented with a project that was brought to us by a local teacher there. He noticed, this is before there were any school closures, he noticed a big problem with some of the schools that are very, very remote and away from the city because the quality of education that the children were receiving was pretty subpar. And so his idea was to have a program where the children in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade would receive it was like a club, and they would receive extra tutoring and a class in improving their reading, because at that juncture after 6th grade, that would be the time when the children would go on to middle school. There would be a huge dropout rate. And the reason is that the kids couldn't compete with their peers that had better educational opportunities. So they would start middle school already behind, and that teacher saw that as a big problem. And of course, so did I. So what we decided to do was we made a program called Readers to Leaders, the Readers to Leaders Club. And we started with one village. We came up with a curriculum, and the idea was to really center in on on reading and helping the kids get up to par at their reading level so that they wouldn't be inclined to drop out when it came time to go to middle school. And that program was phenomenally successful, and we were so pleased. So of course we wanted to expand it and try to get more of the different rural schools involved and on board with that. And one of the parts of the program was to give an incentive prize that would make the kids want to come and want to come every time and want to finish. So we thought of a really cool incentive prize, and I'm going to show you that in a few slides. But so anyway, which brings me to this moment that the schools closed down because of COVID. And so nobody was in school and no kids were getting educated. Wait, don't flip ahead. So anyway, the children, of course, were like kids here, were just really, they had nothing to do. They were bored. There was nothing going on. They missed their friends. And here's the thing, the Ministry of Education in Guatemala did have a virtual school program in place for children in Guatemala. But guess what? No one in these villages has a computer or a tablet or anything that they could receive virtual education. And even if they did, they don't have Wi-Fi or internet access. So, I mean, if they were falling behind before, they are really falling behind now, and all the children were. So what we tried to meet that need by expanding the program, and we were able to find some more teachers who were really on board, and the teacher that did the first program trained the other teachers, and we expanded it and made it better, made the curriculum even better and more engaging and more and met the kids where they were in their reading lives. Okay, advance, please. So we have Manuel here, who is the starter and the head leader and chairperson of this program, and he's still doing it. We're on our third iteration now of the program. Next, please. And I mean, these kids really, really like this program. They are so pleased. They're pleased to be back in the classroom. They're pleased that they're getting better at their reading. And one of the teachers sent me a couple of videos to show me how they were in the class, and they are remarkably improving. And the methods that they're using they're using a variety of methods in the classroom, and it's all fun. There's no tests, there's no work. It's just fun to see, and the kids encourage each other, and they test each other in terms of, you know, little games that they play. So I am so pleased with this program. Next, please. And what the teachers have been seeing is that not only are they doing the reading in their Readers to Leaders classroom time frame, but they're seeing them out in the village, in the streets, on the sidewalks, on a tree stump reading. And that, of course, to any teacher or to anyone who cares about literacy, is, your heart sings when you see that. Okay, next. So this is one of our teachers. Her name is Griselda. And of course, the teachers are all out of work too. And so any opportunity to do what they do and also to get paid for it is an honor and a privilege. And their ideas are 100 times better than I could ever come up with. So I love this program for that reason too, that the people, it's by the people, for the people, with the people. And so something really, really great came out of COVID, if you ask me. Next. You can see the eagerness. This is one of the activities, just one. There's so many activities they did. Okay, next. This is, I mean, if you read Spanish, I don't know if anybody does, but this is an interactive, fun thing that they did with Jack and the Beanstalk. And you can see that big, tall thing at the left is gigante, which means giant. And there's Mama, and Juanito is Jack, and Vaca is cow. And if you look at it really closely, each kid got to add to the picture, and it's adorable. It's just adorable. It's very creative. So next. So this is one of the stories that they worked with. And you might think, wow, that's really young for 4th and 6th grade. That's more like a 2nd or 3rd grade book or level. But that is where they were. And they needed to get confidence where they were and not be given something that was 5 levels above where they were. And but they caught up fast, very fast, by doing it this way. Okay, next. So anyway, Manuel had he was worried about the fact that what he noticed was that the kids weren't really very well nourished, and he felt like there was a lack of food, and that was a problem, but also there are a lot of other opportunities to have low cost junk food, and he really wanted to incorporate nutrition into this. And my point was, well, this is a reading program. Let's stick with reading, but if you can incorporate it as an activity, that would be great. And of course, anybody that knows the story of Jack and the Beanstalk knows that he planted some beans and grew a giant stalk. And so the kids, with his own money, bought seeds, and they had these abandoned beds that the community had made a long time ago, and they refurbished them and made them as a part of an adjunct to the activity. Next. And so I'd like to call this working across the curriculum, because it's not just reading, but it's bringing it to life and making it more fun. And actually what they grew, of all things, was radishes. And the reason why they grew radishes is because radishes grow very, very fast. And Manuel wanted them to have their finished product before the time was up. So they were able to do that. But time they incorporated more nutrition. And I'll show you by this next slide. At the end of the time, they had a party, and they had all nutritious snacks, and these fruit, little fruit salad things. I mean, this would have been like your wildest dream, having a beautiful, delicious, healthy snack like that. So that's a perk. That's a perk of this particular program. Next. And here's what our incentives prizes were. Every child, if they completed 95% of the classes and they took attendance, they got a solar lamp. And a solar lamp is huge because they don't have electricity. And so that means they can practice their reading at home in the dark. And it's also something very, very helpful for their families, not just them, but for their families. So next. Okay, does anybody recognize this? I hope. This came from the Rochester Hills Public Library, unpainted. And one of our board members, who's also real active at the Rochester Hills Public Library, Janine Moreland, painted this, and we shipped it to Guatemala. Next. And we also sent the 2 teachers to Guatemala City, because we needed to buy everything in country. We needed to buy, usually I shipped all the stuff, but they needed to buy all the stuff in country. So they went to the big city in Guatemala. They stayed a couple of days, and they went to a really, really great bookstore there, and they bought all the books that they needed for Readers to Leaders, as well as for the little free libraries. And at the end of we decided as an organization that at the end of every Readers to Leaders, we would put a little free library in that community, so that the kids would have some more books to practice reading. And now that we lit the fire, we wanted to give them fuel for their fire. And so that's going to be an ongoing project. And Manuel has volunteered to take care of that in all the communities that we put those libraries in. Next. So here it is. They had a little party for the inauguration of the little free library. That's the same one that that came from the Rochester Hills Public Library. And the kids love it. They're super proud of it. And I'm as pleased as I could be that this turned out this way. Next. Okay, that's just another picture of it. Next. Okay, and this is our final little part. We have big news. We were able to find a wonderful doctor who wanted to work in Guatemala. She had worked there before in the area and really liked it. Her husband passed away about 2 years ago, and she worked for a while in Oregon, and then she had just wanted to go back. She really did. So we asked her, we came to an agreement with what we could pay her. It's not very much. And she lives there now, and she's working at the clinic. And about a week after she got there, she quite literally saved newborn preemie twins by recognizing their mother in a very difficult labor. She literally drove them to the hospital 3 hours away, and they were delivered safely, and they are doing very well. And the mom and dad named one of the babies after Ellen. So and actually they weren't thriving, they weren't growing very well. The mom had a lot of trouble nursing the twins. So what you see on the chair there is cans of formula. We have committed to help them with the formula and through the time that they start eating table food. And the good news is the nursing is coming along as well. So we're happy about all of that. Okay, next slide. These are the preemie twins. The one on the left is Elena, which is the one named after Ellen, and the one on the right is Lita. So 2 little girls. Next. And one other thing that's come out of this is that our nurses, which are on the left picture, the 2 young women on the right, and Ellen, are collaborating with the local public health professionals, and we're doing the prenatal care, and they're doing the weighing, measuring, and vaccinations of the children. And so this is a really great collaboration, and everybody wins, the people, the public health, and Casa Colibri. So next. So I just want to end by saying that the Maya are over 2,000 years old. They've been around for a long, long time, and they've suffered many, many hardships, but yet they endure. Next slide. And are always looking to the future. So I don't know what time we have, but I hope you enjoyed our program. And I thank you one more time for all the support that we've had throughout the years. It's been a long time, and we as a club and as an organization have been able to make a big difference in that area. And I'm feeling really happy about that. So that's it. Any questions?
I mean, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for those people there. That's awesome. You got any other announcements or anything else before we close out? Because we're running over time.
For the next 5 or 6 days, the Tigers are in town. 2 tickets. Anybody that wants them, let me know. We're going to be tied up with a wedding or whatever, but there's 2 tickets. I think I can actually give you the dates, but if anyone is interested, just contact me.
Tim Crawford has 2 tickets to the Tigers that he cannot make. If anybody's interested, contact him. Anything else before we close out?